What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of TSC. We have right here on the line, not just a very special guest, he is a Hall of Fame guest, a WWE Hall of Famer, former Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, a man who has had wrestling success spanning decades. We are talking to the legendary Charles Wright, better known as the Godfather. Godfather, how's it going?
What's up, Fred? Man, just sitting here in Las Vegas, chilling, my man.
What are you up to these days?
Well, I'm not wrestling, of course, anymore. I put that away. I'm still doing some shows every now and then where I'm doing the signings. But I sold my stake at a club out here called Cheetahs. And so now I'm hosted at one of the clubs out here called the Spearmint Rhino on Sundays. And I'm kind of like the Godfather out there where I'm hosting my own little room out there. And it's a pretty cool situation. But it's called the Spearmint Rhino. And then I do my little shows on the weekend, and I chill a lot with the families and the dogs, you know, man, just chilling, really chilling, just relaxing, enjoying life.
You've had a lot of incarnations of yourself in wrestling. I think the notable ones, of course, are the Godfather, Kama Mustafa with the Nation of Domination, Papa Shango. You've done a lot of fun things. You've done a lot of weird things. Was there ever a point in time where you had to tell Vince McMahon, all right, that's a little too weird or out there for me?
No, not at all. Not with me, man, because it was a job for me. It was a fun job, and Vince was the boss. What do you want? Let's get it done the best we can. I didn't have time to bitch and complain about things or worried about if it was silly or, man, I am so far from a voodoo, man. It's not funny. I was more of a biker cowboy when they gave me that gimmick, and you know, I just tried to do the best that I could with it. Really never worried about it. I just basically tried to do the best I could do with what they gave me.
Now, from what I understand, you had a football background, right? You played for Nevada as an offensive tackle?
Well, that's a long story that it would take up an hour, but basically I was a basketball player in high school. I was a basketball player, and I went to college one year on a basketball scholarship, and I started lifting weights, and I put on about 80 pounds. And then when I was in high school, you know, my parents wouldn't sign the form to let me play football, so I played basketball. So then I got long story short, somebody from the University of Nevada, Reno, he knew me from the college that I was going to, and he knew that I was hanging out in the weight room, hanging out with the football players. So they flew me out to Nevada. They put a basketball in my hand. I'm 6'5", I'm 290 pounds, I'm bench pressing 400 pounds. Never playing football before in my life, never playing organized tackle football in my life. They gave me a scholarship, maybe offensive tackle. That's the story, man. Can you believe that? I'd never played tackle football in my life. Had a full ride scholarship. Such a good athlete.
That's pretty incredible. And from what I understand, shortly thereafter, a while after you were you working at a bar, or were you just happened to be noticed at a bar by wrestlers, which led to your big break?
I was working at a topless club in Vegas, and they were filming a movie. Yeah, imagine that, dude. My whole life, ever since even playing football in Reno, I've always been in topless clubs. I've always had something to do with topless clubs at all times. And so I was working at it. I was managing a club in Vegas called the Crazy Horse, and they were filming a movie called Over the Top with or Sylvester Stallone. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Arm wrestling movie. Whatever. I think Scott Norton was in it. There were some other wrestlers in it as extras. They would come to my bar, and at that time I was just a monster. But like I said, I was more of a cowboy biker. And they're like, dude, you should become a wrestler. And I knew a little bit about it, but when I was younger, man, roller derby was in the Bay Area. Roller derby was much bigger than wrestling, and we all used to go to roller derby. So anyway, we made some calls. They flew me out to New Jersey. Next thing you know, I'm in the ring with Jerry Lawler, you know, and just things escalated really fast.
Started at the world-famous Monster Factory, led to Jerry Lawler's territory in USWA, and then you eventually made your way to at the time, the World Wrestling Federation, eventually became Papa Shango. You were still a relatively young guy at that point. What was it like kind of being in the locker room with some of those heavy hitters like Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Macho Man Randy Savage? Was it overwhelming at all for you?
It wasn't overwhelming to me because probably, like I said, we were roller derby fans. We knew who these guys were, but dude, I've always been around some really crazy people, and none of those wrestlers, half the wrestlers, weren't as crazy as half my friends. And being a black biker with tattoos back in that day, dude, I'm telling you, I was around some characters that would make most modern day wrestlers just look. So it wasn't no big thing to me. To me, it was just I was around personalities that were just like mine.
And you were around some dudes that were just like you, and you had great chemistry with them. The Nation of Domination, which I think is one of the most criminally underrated factions of all time in professional wrestling. But man, you guys all made an impact individually and collectively. Whose idea was it to put you guys all together?
I don't know how they actually got started. I got put in there for, I was actually coming back as Papa Shango. As I came to TV, I got a call or somebody said, hey, Vince wants to talk to you. I went in there with Vince, and Vince just basically said, change your plans. And I was supposed to come back as Papa Shango that night. And they said, we're going to call you, we're going to put you in the Nation of Domination. You and Ron Simmons are going to wrestle The Undertaker in a handicap match, and you're going to go over. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? What? And I have my bag is full of voodoo, and I've lost weight, and I've got everything. They gave me an outfit, and yeah, that's how that went. That's how I got put into the Nation, and that's when I knew who Ron Simmons was from wrestling, but more from football when he played college football. And so I've the first time meeting Ron, and I just really clicked with him, and we became great friends. And yeah, not underrated. It is what it is. But most of everybody in that group, went on and did bigger and better things. Especially The Rock.
That's right, The Rock, Ron Simmons, the first black world champion in modern wrestling history. Yourself, WWE Hall of Famer. Another guy I think is underrated. D'Lo Brown was a stud back in the day too. Mark Henry later became world champion.
I mean, look at almost everybody. As soon as we get D'Lo in there, The Rock will go in anytime he wants. You'll have everybody in that group basically at the end that I think that made the Nation. Everybody will be in the Hall of Fame.
So who woke up one day and said, you know what, this militant badass guy in the Nation of Domination is cool, but you know what, Charles, we're going to make you a pimp?
No, you know what, you're not going to believe this, but that was all my wife's idea.
She's a keeper.
That was my wife's idea. And she and I was like, because in my business, man, back in the day, we used to beat the hell out of pimps every day. We wouldn't allow them in the club. So I hated pimps. And I'm like, I don't want to be no pimp. And they're like, baby. And my wife's like, no, you got to listen to me. We got to let your personality out and stop trying to be this and that and just be yourself. And you know what to do. And my wife came up with the outfits. She helped. I came up with the Godfather of the sayings on the back of the vest and the little funny stuff I did. But all the costumes, the hats, the coats, outfits, my wife, the gold. We had a full-time jeweler making us gold, and we had a full-time seamstress making me outfits. Because once I wore something on TV, I didn't wear it on TV again. So I put them in the house shows. It was crazy, man. That was all my wife even made the glasses, all those wild-looking glasses. She made those. So all I did was just the silly part,
Damn, she's the real MVP.
No, she is. No, she is, man.
That's amazing. So was there any kind of apprehension from Vince McMahon and anybody else in creative at that time when you're like, yeah, I don't want to do this Nation of Domination thing anymore. I want to be a pimp. Were they taken aback, or did they kind of accept it, considering back then it was the Attitude Era?
At this time, Rock was kind of taking over the Nation. It was me, him, and Mark Henry, D'Lo, and they weren't really doing nothing with me. And at that point, I started growing my hair, and I'm like, you know what? My hair grows fast as it is, and I'm like, I'm going to grow an afro. And I just started, basically how I dressed normally is how I would just go to the ring, because I wasn't wrestling. I was just walking people to the ring. And I start growing my hair. And then one day somebody's like, Godfather, braid your hair. Or, they call me, don't you braid your hair, man? So I start braiding my hair. And I'm just going out and my hair's growing. And then people started calling me like, hey, Godfather, you're a pimp. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm a pimp? And I guess with the hair, they thought I was a pimp. And so one day, Me and my wife now, we were thinking about ideas and thinking about things to do. And one day, me and Bradshaw are wrestling each other now. And he's Bradshaw and I'm Kama. Nobody gives a crap. We're wrestling popcorn match. Nobody really cares about us. And so, we're out there beating the hell out of each other for 10 minutes and people are sitting on their hands. They could care less about the match. So make a long story short. So one day I'm like, John, let's try something. I think we were in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm like, I'm just going to tell people what I am. And then I said, I'm going to offer you some girls. You walk away. And then at some point you turn back around, you give me that lariat, and then I'm going to say some other crap. And he's like, what? I'm like, come on, let's try it. So we asked Jack Lanza, who's the agent, and he says, fine. So I basically go out there with the people now. Now I've got long braids and, I got a little bit of gold on. And I'm like, you know what, everybody, I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm a pimp. And right then the people kind of laughed, just like you kind of laughed. I said, but what you don't know is right here in Louisville, man, they got some of the best hoes ever born. And the people are popping now. And then I start pointing out people anyway. I'd offer John some girls. I didn't even have girls. I would offer John some girls. We'd do a whole little scene. He would walk away. I'd turn and start healing on the people about stupid rednecks. Next thing I know, John would come back. They'd bust me. I'd turn around with all my gear on, the hat, the glasses, and what I had at the time. He'd hit me with the lariat. 1, 2, 3. I would jump up, grab the mic, and say, man, pimping ain't easy. And when I did that, the place would pop. So now we went from beating the hell out of each other for 10 minutes and not getting anything to having the people for 10 minutes and not doing a damn thing.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, that really puts a meaning to the phrase you hear in wrestling, less is more, right?
Yeah. And we had and so then Vince heard about it right away because right away you knew you had something. And then Vince at TV says, Charles, you think you could put some girls to it? And so I'm like, are you joking me, man? So me and Taker and the Harris twins. And so we went out to a topless club, got some girls, put them on TV, and it just took off. And we just kind of started adding things to it, and just it took off fast. And I mean, overnight, it just blew up when we put the girls on TV with the little act that I was doing.
So hang on a sec. You're obviously getting paid a salary from WWE, and I'm sure you were making a lot more money in the Attitude Era because you were getting over and getting some of the biggest pops of the night. I mean, you were very over back then. On top of that, you're commissioning somebody to provide you gold jewelry. On top of that, you're commissioning somebody, a seamstress, to provide you new outfits all the time. On top of that, Vince McMahon is spending money to add various women to your, quote, Ho Train on a nightly basis. So how much would you estimate this, for lack of better terms, gimmick cost you over, like, I don't know, per month or per year? Do you have like a rough estimate?
I have no idea. It was. I have no idea. I couldn't throw no numbers at you. You'd have to ask mine. It was well worth it. How about that?
Yeah, that got you in the Hall of Fame and you made good money, right?
You know what? What I say about the WWE, because I've been on the Legends contract since, I think, 2004. And God bless them, man. To this day, they really take care of me. I just got a royalty check just a couple weeks ago. And believe me, God bless them. It's the gift that keeps giving.
Now, you eventually, of course, became the Goodfather, Right to Censor, went back to the Godfather. Career started to wind down a bit. And years later, 2016, you got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I know it gets some flack sometimes to say this guy should be in, that guy should be out, so on and so forth. But what was it like for you as a performer, as somebody that worked for Vince McMahon for many years, to finally get that due?
Hey, it was an honor, It was an honor. Did I think I was going in? No. Do I think I deserved to be in? Yeah, I think so. I made them a lot of money and brought them a lot of ratings, and I was involved with a lot of cool, from the Ultimate Warrior to the Nation of Domination to the Godfather to, I was involved with a lot of things that people are still today talking about, and it was an honor to be part of it, bro. I was having the time of my life. So to be put in the Hall of Fame, that makes it even that much more better, man.
Great. Well, I know you got to spend some time with your lovely wife, so we'll get you out of here real quick. We got some quick hits for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Favorite cheat meal?
Favorite cheat ribs.
Good choice.
Catfish. I got to say two things. I love fried catfish.
All right. That's a good choice. You've had a number of ring names. I'm just going to read some of them to you right now. Baron Samedi, the Godfather, the Goodfather, Kama Mustafa, Papa Shango, Pimp Father, Rocky Las Vegas, Sir Charles, the Soultaker. Which one of these is your least favorite?
Goodfather by far. Not even close. Not even close. Goodfather.
I'm guessing Goodfather wasn't your idea?
Hell no. I hated that gimmick. No, Goodfather was not. You have no idea how much I hated that when they took Godfather away from me and made me Goodfather. Oh, I hated that.
Oh, man. Well, that's good to know because I hated it too back in the day. All right. Favorite moment, not as the Godfather, and any other incarnations. I know you had a lot of fun as the Godfather in the Attitude Era, but as Papa Shango, maybe even as a Goodfather. Were there any moments that kind of stick out to you?
As a wrestler?
Yeah, just any cool moments, like when you took the wristbands from Ultimate Warrior, or just a particular match, or something like that.
Yeah, there's some. You know what? I always like I think the people most bring up with me is making the Ultimate Warrior puke.
I remember that.
And
yeah.
I think that is probably one of the. I mean, that is the question that I get it more than anything. Is you made the Ultimate Warrior puke because everybody was kids at the time. And that's the biggest thing probably.
What's the best piece of advice you give any wrestler trying to get on the come up right now?
You know what? It's been so long since I've been out of the game. I don't really watch much wrestling anymore. I respect the business. I love the business. The business made me a lot of money. But I'm just gone in a different direction. So, man, and things are so much different with social media now and all, that things have changed from when I was there. So I wouldn't really know what you do. Get out there, get as many matches as you can. Don't worry about what you get paid. Work, drive, get there, work as much as you can, man. And hopefully somebody notices you and you get in.
Now, you were a really athletic big man, and to that point, you don't watch as much, and you're happy where you're at right now. You were an athletic big man. You didn't do anything too crazy, but you were a fun performer to watch. You see a lot of big men these days do a lot of crazy moves, and it's really impressive. But at the same time, there are risks with that, and if you do too much, sometimes it may not mean as much. Do you have any specific advice, at least to big men?
Well, to big men, that's their call. When I got into the business, I told a lot of people, hey, I'm not getting out. I'm 58 years old right now, and believe me, I look decent. And I tell people I'm not getting into this business to be 60 years old and a cripple. And from the very start, when I was Papa Shango, I got into business to entertain them, not to become a world-class wrestler. They got enough of those. So these big guys, actually the wrestling that I see these days is all small guys doing like 100,000 moves in one match. But so I don't see too many real big monsters like we used to have. But the ones that are, they better watch it because it'll take a toll on their bodies later on in life.
Definitely some good advice from one of the greats, Godfather. We really do appreciate the time. Before we let you go, where can fans find you online?
Man, you know what? My old behind just got going on Instagram, and I got verified on Instagram as The Godfather. So I actually got that verified as The Godfather, and I'm on Facebook as The WWE Godfather. And that's really me. So if you guys reach out to me, have some questions, I'm just learning how to do everything, so I'm posting a lot of pictures, and I'm going to start putting some videos on there. But get a hold of me, man, and I'll holler back at you.